welcome to So You Think You're Awake. As always, thanks to everybody who sent their dreams in to radioshow@dream-analysis.com. You'll find these details and other details for contacting me and sending dreams to the show on my website, dream-analysis.com. If you want to come on the air, you can phone the station now on 425-373-5527. That's 425-373-5527 if you have a dream you'd like me to do now. So next week, just to remind you, I will have Dr. Michael Larson on. He's a naturopathic doctor. He's also a chiropractor and an acupuncturist. And I'm really looking forward to that one. And that will be the last Tuesday show. And then we'll be moving to our Thursday slot at 12 o'clock. And I'm very much looking forward to that too. Expanded hour. So that'll give us a lot more time to talk about things. And maybe I'll be able to slow down the speed I talk at. So starting straight away into dreams this week. And I've got lots here. I know I won't get through them all. But the first one, I can't say her name because it's too distinctive. Everybody would know who she is, so let's just call her Kay. She says, I often have dreams of water with sharks. Most recently, I was on top of a very tall, thin piece of land, like an island, but extremely tall and thin, only wide enough for me. It was made of reddish soil and was carpeted with soft, long, very green grass. I had the daunting feeling that I had to jump from this grassy cliff-like tower into the dark, cold water below where I knew there would be sharks. I knew I had to jump because there was nowhere else to go, and I was all alone, and it was some sort of test. I also had the strong sense of telling myself that this was just a dream, and that if I really believed that the universe was benevolent, I would be just fine. Still, I did not want to jump. I did, and as I fell feet first into the dark water, I anticipated danger. My eyes were open, the water was green and murky like fog, and I could see the movement of a huge white shark weaving its way towards me purposefully. Makes it really scary when she says purposefully. Growing larger and more visible as it grew closer. I could not stand the anticipated horror and woke myself up. I love how some people can do that. They just wake themselves up from the dreams when they realize this isn't one I want to be in. I'm going to have somebody on, Jamie on another show where she'll talk to us about lucid dreams. She's an expert in that field. But anyway, this dream, a lot of dreams, what you do is you look for the phrases and the keywords that are in it. So the subject matter here is it's going to be about emotions and this heart and circulatory system, but predominantly it's about you opening up and sharing yourself and not being closed and reserved and holding back and not expressing yourself. And we get that from the fact that it's an island. You say it's like an island, but it's even smaller than an island, so it's worse. You also say you're alone. So this sense of feeling alone is what's pushing you to say, okay, I've got to open up. I've got to share myself more. Now, it doesn't matter that you have a family, a husband and kids. It's obviously a family and relationships are great. They really help us be ourselves around a small number of people. Particularly our partner, where we can be more ourselves around our partner. At least that's the intention of a relationship, that we can be more ourselves around that person than we are around anybody else. So we don't have any pretenses or, we're just not afraid to show ourselves as we are. But this is really about in a bigger context and being more open in a bigger context. So the words like it being thin and so on are all negative and show that you need to expand this. Anyway, you say that you had the daunting feeling that there would be sharks. Now, of course, the other thing that you say, which is there's been books written about this sentence. What you say in the dream, word for word, is, if I really believed that the universe was benevolent, I would be just fine. And that's exactly true. And that's a topic for another show. I'm already discussing that one with another guest we're going to have on. But, it's like the law of attraction. In fact, it is the law of attraction. Your thoughts and your beliefs and the passion that you put into things, and fear is a negative passion. So the more you believe something and the more energy you put behind that belief, the more likely it is going to manifest in your life. And that's actually a bad way for me to say it. Things that you put the most passion behind will manifest. So it's your choice what's going to manifest. So here it's saying that you already know on a level, and that's really good. So you have this knowing that if you can just shut off your fears and do these things anyway, that there will be absolutely no problem. Now, why do you have the fears? Why do you not want to dive into life? And the answer is because uh, you say that this huge white shark is making its way towards you purposefully. Now, this means that extremely likely, um, in a metaphorical sense, you've been attacked in the past. And this is what has you on your guard. So that's what you need to work on. That's the issue. And dealing with that, of course, is going to help you. But of course, the dream is saying this is still something you need to do. It's great that you go feet first into the water. And even it's also great that you did it even with anticipating the danger. So you do everything in this dream that's good. You wake up, of course, instead of facing the shark, but that's okay. But everything else is good. So it's not a bad dream. You know, being emotionally closed or not sharing our feelings, it's an intellectual thing. People like that tend to be fairly intellectual, and that would show in your dream, with you being on this very tall, thin piece of land. The height references being up in your head or being intellectual. So you'd have every argument against this, every intellectual argument against why you need to follow your heart. But unfortunately, that's not how it works. But that's why I say going feet first is better, because most people in this context would say they go head first into the water, which still says that even when you try to get into life, you still use your head. But here you're using the right thing, feet first, so it's really good. And you also shared a dream from your son. You say, just this week, my son, who turned 9, told me of a dream, and in it he had a large ship. He was on a large ship. He and his older sister had decided they wanted to go off on a small boat by themselves, but there were sharks all around, and he called for adults to help them get back on the ship, which they did. He said that there were gremlins all over the bottom of the boat and so much food that it covered the ground, and it was all free. You could take whatever you wanted. There was so much food that he was certain it was more than everyone put together could ever eat. But the gremlins were intimidating, and he killed one. The end. So when did he put the end? So it's interesting that he killed a gremlin, and it's good that he killed a gremlin. But kids' dreams are very much different from adults' dreams. They're quite often they die in their dreams, and they die horrifically, and then they'll have another dream where they die and another where they die. And it's very unusual for adults to even die in their dreams, although it does happen. So it's not surprising your son has dreams with sharks. It's a bit of a coincidence that you have the dreams with sharks too, all right. But really, him going off in the small boat is him trying to make his own way, his own life journey, moving away from the larger ship, which is going to be you and Dad or the family. Well, he's gone off with his sister too. So this is a good thing. It shows him his mind is at the stage. It's developed to the stage now where he's thinking about things he can do himself. Not in the great huge context, but the dream shows that he's being prepared spiritually for taking journeys on his own. But he's still afraid of it. And needs the adult comfort around. I mean, that's exactly what he looks for in the dream here. But the fact that he kills a gremlin is good, because that'll stand him in great ways in times to come. Because he's done that in one dream, it'll increase his power, increase his ability to realize that he doesn't have to let himself be attacked in dreams and so on. Anyway, next dreamer is Sherry, and this dream is called Twister. Well, first of all, she says, I wanted to know if you still did work with clients around cutting the ties. And the answer is yes, I push that all the time. I've mentioned it on the show. In fact, I rarely mention the work I do on the show. But that is a process that I firmly believe in, and I help people all the time with one-to-ones, with cutting the ties. And it's where you know which parent or what issue you have, and you use this process and symbols for the subconscious to deal with those issues and eliminate all the negative influences of a particular parent. Say you're working on mom, it would help you eliminate all the negative issues around mom. The track that she would help lay in your mind about whether you were inadequate, felt in any way that you were inferior, or whatever it happens to be. Our parents can unwittingly lay tracks down in our minds that then very much shape our abilities or control our abilities. And cutting the ties is a process that helps us eliminate that. Issues with mom will usually be about lack of self-love, and will cause us to close off or inhibit the flow of female energy within us. And when we fix those, it just really opens up the world to us. It's a huge, huge change. I have people on from time to time that I should always ask them about that, because I know that they've done this process, but I will do more of that in the future. But anyway, yes, it's one I push because you can do it on your own. You don't need to pay a therapist for doing it, and I have descriptions on my website of how to do it. But sometimes people get stuck and they need the help. Anyway, to her dream, she says it's called Twister. Mom and I are sitting in the kitchen of a beautiful wooden house in the forest, and I'm preparing to have an argument with her that I know we had years ago. Word for word, I know the script because we had the exact one many years ago when I was a girl. Well, I'm sure you're still a girl. And I am prepared to repeat my argument like it was pre-recorded. Suddenly, just as we start, we hear someone yell, "Tornado!" So I grab my mother and take her to the basement. She has such apathy about whether or not she is in danger. I move her away from the large windows. For a basement, the windows were unusually large. You have in brackets, and so you move her away from the windows protectively, but outside I see someone walking through the forest, so I tell her that I have to go bring them into safety. As I walk up the stairs, I see the tornado coming full speed ahead, so I turn around to go back down, and as I'm diving head first down the stairs, there we go, head first, I hear the tornado tear into the house, and I wake up. Okay, so the very first part of this dream, where you're sitting and preparing for the argument that you had when you were a little girl, that tells you that's the time in your life when you need to work on. You are already asking about cutting the ties, so you know you need to cut the ties with your mom, and that's a good thing. This isn't about picking on your mom in any way. This is about you improving yourself and increasing the flow of female energy within you. That sounds very abstract. The result is not. The result is just almost like a euphoric feeling when your heart chakra opens, and a complete sense of being happy and at one with life, that you know you're here for a purpose, and it's kind of like riding a bike. You know what it feels like when you know what it feels like, but it's very hard to describe it to somebody, and that's the way it is for everybody. But anyway, so you need to deal with that. So even if the dream stopped there, we know cutting the ties with your mom is the right thing to do. But then you hear somebody yell "tornado," and you grab your mother, take her to the basement. Now the basement has to do with subconscious issues, things being below surface level. And you say she has apathy about whether or not she's in danger. Now, the apathy is going to be yours, unfortunately. So it's really saying that they're not dealing with this issue, not dealing with the issue around your mom, could cause problems for you, bigger problems than you perceive. Although I kind of think you know yourself. Anyway, I move her away from the large windows, and you even say, so you doubly are negative here. You say there are large windows for a basement, so you're not even happy that the windows are that large for a basement. And windows, of course, allow us to see the outside world. So this is all about retreating inwards because of the issues with mom. And of course, you're protecting your mom in the dream, but it's all about you. You're everything in the dream. So it's just really showing you that you protect yourself because of your issues with your mom. And so you're saying you move away from the windows for protection. So you're moving inward for protection, and then you're not even happy that the windows give such exposure. And of course, the exposure here in this dream, in this context, is a positive thing. Outside, you see someone walking through the forest. So I tell her that I have to go bring them to safety, and then you dive head first. Okay. Because the forest is mentioned, and we have a wooden house in the forest, so we have the wooden and the forest mentioned. It says physical issues connected with your mom are going to be to do with your elimination system, and you would already be aware of that, I'm sure. But so why mention that? When you cut the ties with your mom, it's going to improve that side of your health, and that's something you're going to want anyway. And then you have another dream called wolves at the door. And even when you say that, wolves at the door, there is an expression for wolves at the door. You wouldn't even need the rest of the dream, because you could ask you what's going on in your life, what has hit the fan, and when you look at that, this is what the wolves at the door represent. So severe stress coming your way, compounded by these issues with your mom, because it's always going to be part of that. And anyway, we'll read the dream. We're driving along on a trip to go home. I'm not driving. I think an unknown Asian man is. And I must have been napping, because I waken and find that we are at a standstill since there's an accident on the road ahead blocking all passage. So this is a mix of the elimination system problem I was talking about earlier, and other stuff in the dream. So we have a blockage there. We have the accident on the road ahead. Normally things that are ahead of you in the dream are something that haven't happened yet necessarily. They still have yet to happen, because it's how dreams show the future. Anything behind you is in the past, and anything in front of you is in the future. So the accident is up ahead, but it's still affecting you now because movement has stopped. Not sure if the road is underground, so we have the underground again with the just like the basement before. But there are rock walls on either side of us, so very close that I momentarily think if they give way, we are buried. There's a bright red semi-truck overturned among the cars on the road, and it's eerily quiet. No people around. Suddenly I look up, and this pack of wolves are emerging from behind the car carnage, and I'm stuck in horror for the safety of whoever is on the road. Okay, struck maybe. There now seem to be people, but the pack of wolves move forward, and everything moves like it was a stream, not a road. Okay, so we have the wolves coming from behind the carnage. So this thing is going to happen, and then that's going to cause you to be stressful in your life. Now, of course, dreams tell us this because there's always going to be a solution. You don't always have to go through everything. But when you talk about these cars, especially when the way we have it here in the dream, it's a karmic thing. So this is coming because it's going to help you in your life. And the bright red, in fact, says that it's a positive thing. The outcome, we expect the long-term outcome of this to be positive. And red is all about passion and fun and so on. So it's about bringing that back into your life. Also healing for base chakra things, which is what the problem area is. I turned my attention to our own car and realized that we have to roll our windows up. So again, we have windows and wanting to close them. I realized too late, and the wolves are trying to get in. Of course, the dream says it's too late, but it's never too late in reality for you to deal with issues. The important part here is coming up. There are several little kids in the car, around one or two, one in a light blue shirt. So this one or two, this is what you need to do is work on your inner child, and that's called rescuing your inner child. And you almost say that expression here later in the dream, which I really like. The blue shirt, the light blue shirt is really good. That asks you to lighten up, have a lighter philosophy of life than you currently have. And it says at that age, 1 and 2, you did. Now the problem, of course, you can't think back to the age 2. Very few people would have any memories whatsoever, and people who do just have very fleeting images. So it's saying that at this age, you had a much brighter philosophy of life than you have now. So this is something you would expect to come back when you deal with the issues with your mom. But a therapy that you use to work on these issues has to be one that would work, that brings you back to that age. You can't look at it with adult eyes, and cutting the ties works for that age, which is why I like that therapy. The driver and I are working so hard to roll the windows up, but the wolves are getting their heads in, and I'm pushing them back and forcing the windows up and pulling kids out of the way, and windows are popping out, and after a while feels like I'm the only one trying to rescue the kids. There's the phrase, rescue the kids. So that is what you're doing. So you're doing the right thing in the dream, but that's what you're doing, but you're correctly doing it. You do need to do it. And you say that they're biting your arms, but their teeth don't seem to be penetrating your skin. That's good. In a way, it's good. Finally, the windows are up, not set perfectly in their slats, but they're up, and I feel some momentary relief. So anyway, because it's a truck that's overturned, it's a career issue like losing a job. And the wolves, I've already said, are stresses resulting from this. But you could look at this, you could just look at the wolves in the door, Google that expression, and you'd have the meaning of this dream. So these dreams seem bad, but they're not really, because you're already looking at the issues. And when you have in mind, this is something I need to deal with, your dreams get stronger and show you what you need to work on and why you need to work on it. And that's good. And I had another dream. Okay, this one is from Jane. She says, I'm in a vehicle, maybe a bus, and we cross a long expansion bridge. The opposite end is a very narrow island. So we have island again. We know what that's about. We know it's about keeping ourselves separate from others. I'm on the right side of the vehicle next to the window. It is taking me to a doctor's appointment. I'm pregnant, but in the dream, I have to rub my belly and feel the baby move to prove it to myself, since my stomach is fat in real life. Now, I wrote and asked the dreamer, is she pregnant in real life? And she isn't. So being pregnant in a dream is really good. So we know it's about the heart. We know it's about expanding yourself by opening your heart chakra. And the pregnancy here is going to be about this new aspect of you coming into being, that the dream continues on. The baby turns and I can feel an arm or a leg. I'm quite far along. It seems like 29 weeks. I recall the doctor saying I have 6 weeks to go, but I haven't had my appointment that day yet. So 6 is really good. 6 is to do with the dharmic path. You'll hear me mentioning it from time to time. It's the opposite of the karmic path. So it's where stuff doesn't happen in your life. We don't learn through experiences anymore. We know what our life is about and we pursue our life purpose with passion and an open heart. So that's where you're heading. So this is a really good dream, even though this seems negative. As we merge onto the land, which is only wide enough on the strip for 2 lanes of traffic, I look down and get very scared and anxious. So this is saying prior to this transformation within you, all these negative feelings are coming up. And they have to. They come up because you got to purge them. The land has eroded to the edge of the road, actually breaking some of the painted lines. I can see the vibrant green of the grass and the rich brown of the earth. Okay, so some of the painted lines are broken. We have the edge of the road gone. So you like things to be marked, to a demarcation that says, okay, this is your side, that's my side, and we both understand each other. We all know where we are now. So that's the way you like things. And the dream is saying, look, you've got to drop these barriers that you put up. They're up there for your comfort, so it's easy for you to drop them. You don't need to get other people to do things. That's what I mean by that. So that's what you need to do. And the green is the color of the heart chakra, and the brown, you say, a rich brown of the earth. So it's telling you, look, the earth is a practical place, and the vibrant green says things are full of life and emphasizes you moving onto the dharmic path. That's what the green is really about. Where was I at in this dream? We get to the wider part and get out. Suddenly we have a side view of bridges. There are 2 bridges that connect to 2 narrow parts of the island. I'm talking to a couple of friends, 1 male, 1 female, waiting to go to my doctor's appointment. So you have a channeling ability because we have these 2 bridges. You also would be good at counselling because the bridges are actually a symbol for counselling. I'm facing the bridge. They're looking at me with their backs to it. So this is going to be something in the past because we have people with their backs. Something in the past is going to show up here. We're on a balcony or walkway open to the outside. The balcony is the high point, references you being intellectual or happier to rationalize your way through life rather than follow your heart. And that's not unexpected. We'll see this over and over again in dreams where the heart and emotions are brought up. There are lots of other people there also. I'm talking about what the doctor previously said and my concerns about the land eroding when I suddenly see the far bridge collapse. I scream. Other people start reacting also. There are 5 cars on it and it collapses in sections starting from the island and going back to the mainland. My male friend hugs me and is soothing me as I'm yelling and crying. My female friend has turned and is watching the bridge. Okay, so this collapse has already happened in the past. This big issue has already happened in the past. And that's one thing that has caused you to retreat and make yourself an island, so to speak. The 5 cars here say, we have the 6 weeks and we have the 5 cars. So this is the choice between the karmic path and dharmic path. Not everybody gets these choices in the dream. So it's really good for your dream to see this and really good for you in reality to see this. And the male and female together, because you keep referencing them, channeling works using male and female energy. And it's one of the few gifts that requires both working in harmony. So it's good that you have those in the dream, and that's why you have that. So issues in your 20s because of the 29 weeks. Yeah, that's it. Nothing else to report on that one. I'm looking at the time and I'm trying to pick a few dreams that will be a little bit shorter. This one is from Jenny. She says, I dreamed I went to say thank you to a teacher. He hugged me close for a long time. I felt his energy being passed to me. The longer he hugged, the more I felt his energy being passed through me. I said, I'll be back. I think the guy who hugged me was black, but there was also a white guy beside me to the left. Okay. This is about you suppressing an aspect of your nature that's going to come back, and that's what the I'll be back is about. And this is, of course, it's also a pre-life thing. in your dream. So dreams all have aspects, different stages of the whole life cycle. You're a teacher, you're a spiritual teacher because you have a teacher in the dream, and you're able to channel energy into this. So you're a spiritual healer, but you're also a teacher, and you can channel other teachers. But the emphasis for you is that you really need to realize it's all you. Don't be looking to say, I need to channel someone else, I don't have the answers, etc., etc. You do, but you have the support of other teachers. You do have the answers, and you can do this yourself, and it's a really good dream. Again, looking for something else. I'm driving down the freeway with my fiance next to me. In front of us, we see this white van/truck-looking vehicle moving really strangely across the freeway, almost bouncing, and it bounces over the freeway sides, falling off to the waterway below, like at the Ship Canal Bridge on the I-5. Okay, if you're from Seattle, you know where that is. I'm looking to call 911 to get them some help. In the next scene, we're at a bus station or a shopping mall. We can see that the people are okay in the van or truck, as there is a helicopter lifting them out of the water. Okay, so this, there was more of that dream, but just looking at this first part, it fits in with other dreams you've sent in. It's saying your career is going to change. So the truck, trucks are commercial vehicles. We only use them in a career basis. So this dream says that your career is going to change, and you're going to fall into the spiritual field. That's what falling into the water represents, and everything's going to be fine. You say at the end of the dream, the people are lifted up by the helicopter, and that they're okay. So that's the main part of the dream. Everybody's okay, and even if you didn't have that, I would have told you that everything's going to be okay, because there is absolutely never any issue with getting into the spiritual field. And the helicopter, just for the people that want to know, represents the heart, because it's the way a baby hears a mother's heart in the womb. And anything that rotates anyway is going to be about the heart. But that's what's going to lift you up, moving into the heart, moving into the Christ consciousness path, dharmic path. That's all the areas for you. So I had loads of dreams left, including ones that I promised people I would do, but we'll have to leave them till next week. And thanks for listening. See you next Tuesday.